silicon, silicone. You've definitely heard both words, right? But one is busy powering your phone, while the other might be your favorite baking pan. They sound almost the same, yet they could not be more different. So, what's the real story here? Let's break it down.
Okay, so just look at this. On one hand, you've got this tiny, super powerful computer chip, and on the other, this flexible, kind of everyday material. The names are a near-perfect match, but their jobs are worlds apart. It's a classic case of mistaken identity, and believe it or not, it all comes down to a tiny, tiny difference in their chemistry.
Right, so here's the thing. The reason this gets so confusing is pretty simple, actually. Even though they sound almost identical and one is even made from the other, silicone and silicone are chemically totally different, and that difference is what gives them completely separate jobs in our world. All right, let's dive in. We're going to start with the one without the E, silicon. Yeah, if you're watching this on pretty much any device, you have silicon to thank. This stuff literally built a foundation of our modern digital age. So what is silicon really? Well, for starters, it's a completely natural element you'd find on the periodic table. Its symbol is Si. This isn't something cooked up in a lab. It's everywhere on our planet. And in its pure form, like you see here, it's this hard, brittle solid that has this cool, almost metallic look to it. And get this is a pretty wild fact. Right after oxygen, silicone is the second most abundant element in the Earth's crust. Just let that sink in for a second. It is everywhere, from the crystals in mountains to the sand on the beach. We're literally walking on it all the time. Okay, so if it's so common, why is it such a big deal? Well, it all comes down to one magic word: semiconductor. What does that mean? It means silicon can basically be told when to let electricity flow and when to stop it. It gives us this incredible, precise control over electrical currents. And that single property is what makes it the absolute essential building block for every microchip inside the gadgets we use every single day. So yeah, if you need a really simple way to lock this in, just think of silicon as the brain. It's the smart, calculating core that does all the thinking for our entire digital world. Okay, so we've covered the brain. Now let's add that E to the end and talk about its synthetic cousin, silicone. This is the polymer that shapes our physical, everyday world in ways you might not even realize. Right off the bat, here's the biggest difference. Unlike silicon, silicone is not a natural element. Nope, it's a completely man-made polymer. Scientists take that natural element, silicon, and they combine it with oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen to create this amazingly versatile rubber-like material. And why go to all that trouble? Well, because the properties you get are just incredible. I mean, look at this. It can handle super high heat. That's why it's perfect for things like oven mitts. It's extremely flexible, but also really durable. Plus, it's non-toxic and repels water, which makes it a total go-to for everything from medical devices to food containers. So there you have it. If silicon is the brain doing all the thinking, then silicone is the backbone. It's that strong, flexible structure that supports so many of the practical, physical things around us, from industrial seals to life-saving medical implants. Okay, we've met the whole family. We've got the brain and the backbone. Now let's put it all side by side and really nail down the key difference. And spoiler alert, it all comes down to that one little letter. And boom, this lays it all out nice and clear. Over on the left, you've got silicone, the natural, hard element that runs the digital world. Then on the right, you've got silicone, the synthetic, flexible polymer that makes up our physical world. You know, one is for circuits and chips, the other is for seals and spatulas. Totally different universes. And you want the absolute best trick to remember this forever? Here it is. Look at that E at the end of silicone. I want you to think of that E as standing for elasticity. Silicone is the one that's elastic, flexible, and rubbery. Simple as that. All right, let's wrap this up and lock in the final takeaway. We've gone from a natural element to a man-made polymer, from the brain to the backbone. But it really just boils down to one core idea. Yeah, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? One is the brain of your computer, the smart stuff processing all that information. The other is the backbone of our physical world, the tough stuff that holds up under all kinds of pressure. After this, you are never going to mix them up again. So there you have it, a single letter. That E for elasticity is pretty much all that separates the digital world inside your phone from the physical world of your kitchen. Kind of makes you wonder, right? What other huge secrets of science are hiding in plain sight, just in the words we use every single day?